to start, one of my favorite things about this Zach Kreger movies in general, and I know there's two, but my favorite thing is that like every time you think you're gonna figure something out, you like actually don't. Because it was what I loved about Barbarian. This movie felt very much the same, where I was like, I got this, and then I didn't. For you as an actor, how is that reading those scripts and seeing that for yourself on the script and knowing that you get to be a part of like creating that experience for audiences?
That is a really good question. Reading the script, we all did get the full script as soon as we were brought on. But I do remember the first time reading, just thinking, where are we going here? And I think it's really exciting, especially at a time when it feels like a lot of content is very specific to its genre and you can follow its arc and you know where you're going to end up. It's really fun to be part of something that feels like it almost defies genre
Mm.
and brings in so many different elements and like you said, you don't know where the plot's going and that's a great feeling.
And in this movie in particular, you get to have a unique role in the sense that like so many other people we get to see their characters kind of fully fleshed out and like we get to spend more time with them, but you get to be part of the group where it's like we don't really get to see them often as fully functioning people. Is that freeing as an actor to know like, okay, well yeah, she had like there's this whole life that the audience isn't seeing, but also it's fine because what the audience is seeing is kind of more important in those moments?
Yeah, it definitely can be freeing and I would say it gives you a lot of freedom to play with what you think the backstory is.
Mm.
So, one of the little moments that's mentioned in the film is that Mrs. Lily's mom has died recently, which is one of the reasons she is, I think, so open to letting Gladys come in. It's sort of a way for her to reconnect with her mom. And so, one of the things I imagine for her that isn't in the script is that maybe she had sort of energetically like invoked something to try to connect with her mom and that maybe some of Gladys's arrival is her fault in some way that she was reaching out and I wondered if she even dabbled in some like light witchcraft to try to achieve that connection with her dead mom. So yeah, it gives you a lot of room to build up a story that almost feels more like your secret, which is fun. And yeah, getting to be kind of zombied out gives you a lot of room in your character development.
Yeah, did you think that you were gonna star in a movie where you were just fed chicken noodle soup by a small child sitting at a dinner
No,
table?
absolutely not. It was not on my bucket list, though. I guess it should have been. And Carrie was very generous with the spoonfuls too, and very like forceful with the spoon. I remember Whit and I worrying about our teeth from time to time, but yeah, we both took a break from soup for a while.
Hopefully, you guys filmed Dead of Summer, so you didn't have the like feeling of I kind of want soup right now.
Oh,
But
that's true. Yeah, I had some time in between soup season.
you feel like I gotta get ready for soup season. I can't do it right now. But I also love so much of this movie is like when we get to that chapter, basically, when we get to see the house fully and like what is going on inside. It is like you said, it all starts with her either longing for that connection or wanting to just be like the person in her family who's like, okay, well, they need help, like I'm helping them.
Right.
And then it royally backfires and it's not necessarily anything that she did. uh for you, how do those things kind of help you when you are crafting that backstory that you were talking about or whatever it may be, since we only get hints of what these characters are feeling or going through prior to Gladys?
It's an interesting through line that I noticed with Barbarian and Weapons that there's this ongoing theme of being burned by trying to do the right thing. I think that happens with the main character in Barbarian. By trying to look out for others, she ends up putting herself in a lot of danger. And I think Alex goes through that in this movie by trying to protect his parents. He subsequently puts his entire class in danger and possibly like this whole town.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was an interesting thing to play with. I think we see a lot of stories about do the right thing, be the better person, and that will lead you to will lead you to good outcomes. And I think sometimes there's a what about protecting your peace, yourself, your safety, and not doing what seems like the right thing because someone's family or because someone's a friend. Um, I wouldn't say it's like a main theme, but it was something that I was interested in, that here was somebody trying to do something kind for someone, and it just had no good repercussions at all.
And do you like being part of the jump scares in these movies? Because like the first real jump scare in Weapons for me is when the parents are just sitting and we get to look in
Okay.
the window
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh my God, like why are they just sitting there? And like
Yeah.
that for me was the first time I jumped and I was just like, what the hell is going on? But how is that for you as an actor to like knowing that either watching audiences react in that way or knowing that there are people who are like terrified of you just sitting somewhere?
That's a good question. I think Whit and I never expected that the parents would end up being such a big part of fear moments for people, because there's so many different elements of fear going on in the movie from so many different characters. And that one surprised me. And also the scissor walk was a big surprise. I think we all knew the fork was going to feel like an iconic moment, the face forking. But it's been really funny to see what has given people the most spooks, and I had that one I haven't heard. I haven't heard people say that the sitting has done that much for them. But it makes sense.
It was just the I don't like when I'm like, what's going on? When correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it you who is in the car as well with Julia Gardner, like that comes out the house? That to me, like I remember watching, I think it was Strangers when I was very, very young and in high school. And every time I get in a car now, triple check my back seat because they were in the back seat of a car.
Mhm.
So that scene really was like triggering because it was like, why didn't you lock the car? What are you doing? Why is the car unlocked? And
Zach
like,
knew how he wanted that scene the entire time before we started filming. When I was in my audition process, Zach knew he wanted this really specific walk towards the car. And I think he was the only one who knew how much that was going to affect people. I think for the rest of us, it was a surprise.
listen, I don't do the backs of cars. I'm always like, what's going on? Who's back there? Like I turn lights on. I'm like, I check everything.
Don't
Because this
drink in your
movie.
car now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not doing nothing in that car. One, but how is it working with Zach? Because he comes from comedy, and you can tell that these movies have comedic elements to them, and I think that's what makes them stronger because you're laughing, and then you realize that 2 seconds later you're going to be terrified by something. How is it working with a director who does have that background and does use comedy in the horror genre?
I think it's really exciting because you never feel like you're in a one specific genre movie. There's so many, and there were so many times where there were hilarious moments during filming. Austin Abrams was just hilarious in every aspect, even when he was just in front of us on the couch, snapping in front of our eyes. I had a really hard time keeping it together. But then we'd go to another moment where Amy Madigan would be so terrifying and say something that like just stuck in my head for weeks because she was so powerful and so scary. And Zach I think Zach isn't just afraid to be comedic. He's also, I think that comedy background keeps him from being boxed in whatever he's doing. And he's also just so excited on set, and his mind is moving like 1,000 miles a minute. And because of that, he just feels right in the thick of it with you. He's very hands-on, not in a stifling way, but he definitely knows the vision he has in his head, and he's just so excited to bring it to life.
Yeah, and I always hate asking this question because I feel like it's kind of derivative, but with a movie like this, it was very, very funny to see how people reacted to it. Do you have a favorite like meme that ended up coming out of this movie? Because if it's not Gladys, everyone was doing the run meme. Like everyone started to make weapons memes in
Yeah.
a way that I was like, oh, okay, this is like a thing. Like we're memeing weapons.
Yeah, there was a full week where I really couldn't tell if my algorithm was feeding it to me because they knew I was going to watch it, or if it was that prevalent. There's so many good ones. One of my daughter's favorites was she was reposting these a lot. The Gladys ones, because remember that the Chapel Roan song Subway came out right around the same time, and the She's Got a Way became She's Got a Wig. So a lot of she's got a wigs or she's bald. She's bald and she's torturing people with hair. That one was a good one. But yeah, it was a very memeable movie at the end of the day.
Yeah, I loved the ones where it would show the kid running with his arms back, and it's like, if I send you this, it means I'm on my way or something like that.
Yeah. I had a friend who turned the fork moment into a GIF. And so anytime that he's like really burnt out with work or doesn't like what's happening, he'll send me the forking GIF.
Well, well, and then also the hot dogs, which I know is a reference to his comedy background, but it is very funny that everyone was like, "Why are there so many hot
Yeah, I that became such a thing, and it's like literally like maybe 4 seconds
dogs?"
of hot dog footage. I think that the movie theaters should have done like AMC should have done a short run special where you could get 7 hot dogs with all their little sides. I think people would have paid $50 for that.
100%. A bunch of people would have gone to the theater and been like, "Yes, however many hot dogs you want to give me."
Yeah.
For a last thing I do want to ask, because what I love about a movie like this is that it like Zach continued to push to get it made, because obviously before the strikes had a completely different cast, was completely different, and then
Yeah.
slowly became what Weapons ended up being. And a lot of people agree that it like ended up for the better, because everyone is so beautifully cast in this movie. How was it for you, whether wherever you were in that casting process, seeing kind of where the vision kind of took Zach, so that like we as the audience got this final version, even though it was already kind of in process pre-strikes?
I talked to Zach about it on set a bit. You know, he was talking about this completely different cast that he had. And I think he would agree with you and most audiences that even though he was very excited about the cast that was slated, that what was supposed to happen happened. And I came on board towards the end of the casting process. It was just myself and Carrie Christopher who auditioned to be in the movie. Everyone else was, an A-lister who went straight to their offer. So it was strange to be in a group of people who went straight to their offers and to have done it sort of the old-fashioned auditioning way. But I'm so grateful because I think Zach had so many fans, even just from Barbarian, that he could have gotten whoever he wanted to do mom, to do dad, to do the kid. And something happened for us too, where we also just got swept up at the right place, right time to be a part of it.
Well, I love this movie. I think it's truly one of my favorites of the entire year. But I was like watching it, like, yeah, I think just Zach Kreger is now 2 for 2 with his like
Yeah.
weird horror movies, and I love them. So thank you so much for talking with me today. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was nice to meet you.
Of course, it's nice meeting you. Have a great one.
You too. Bye bye.